December 4th or 5th today, right? It's
Fourth.
December 5th today?
Fourth.
It is the 4th. Okay. December 4th, 2020. We are nearing the end of this crazy year. And here we are with Brent from No Maps or New Maps. How do you pronounce that?
Well, there is no more new map, but it would be new map, NOOMAP, based on the noosphere.
Okay.
But
And we log into that server or that system yesterday and set it up, but you're saying it's not there anymore.
what I'm saying is new map as an organization or project is no longer. So I'm not really from new map anymore. I was a past founder of what we call the S7 Foundation, which was the responsible for new map. So I'm currently, not that it even matters, but I'm currently part of a group called Together and a group called Symphonics. And basically new map was a sandbox sort of prototype, where we learn about how we want to think holonically in those holons and how we want to self-organize and what a new paradigm software might look like, or what are some of the things that might be part of that. So that was our prototype. It's I guess you could call it alpha in software language. So it's not really, it's not beta. It's not even close to beta. It's just a proof of concept, or a super strong proof of concept, I would say, actually. So I still use it for some things, just to for my own creativity. And then in the future, we sort of want to incorporate what we learned there and what we were envisioning there into the new thing that gets created.
Oh, of course. How's Neverland going?
It's called Togetherland. I don't mind.
Togetherland. Sorry.
Just for clarity. I mean, it's no, I'm not insulted or anything.
No, I appreciate it.
That's going good. That just really came about this past year. And I specifically am like a concept architect. I think if I had to put a name to it. So Togetherland's a concept architecture that includes the work. So the work that we went on from the new map to create basically a whole systems platform for co-creation. That's where new map started.
Right.
And when we first got together with our former partner, Chris, my wife and I, in 2013, we went about things pretty straightforwardly, I would say, and naively, thinking we would just build new map to a better version of itself, and people would share their passions and skills and resources, and we sort of have this new paradigm software, so to say. But it became quickly evident that there was a lot more to what we were seeing and what we wanted to do, and then all of the variables like legal entities and funding and all the things that go into creating something. So we sort of went on a deeper journey of co-creation itself and conscious evolution and living in the gift paradigm, etc., as part of the whole experience.
Right.
So Togetherland is kind of transcending and including where we've gotten to now, which is called the Together Life System, which Andrew and I presented a little bit about on Awaken Dream Synergy like last month, and where we're at with that, which is more like a blueprint. And Togetherland is about kind of social impact entertainment, for lack of a better word, because it's hard to describe. But basically, it's what we're all doing, what you guys are doing, which is how do we make this whole planet or this whole reality an immersive, interactive, fun, co-creative, epic journey, otherwise known as new stories and new context, new civilization, blah, blah, blah.
The new ecosystem.
Yeah. And then I've added a couple of things to Togetherland, which I think are maybe mimetically unique, but not unique in what we're all doing, so to say, and that I just named them, right? So I named it transmedium instead of transmedia, because transmedia generally refers to like internet technology. And I was more into co-creation in the different sectors of the wheel, and that everything is really a medium or a technology, even by definition. Like medium has certain definitions. So by some definitions, governance is a medium, education is a medium, like economics is a medium. So I was like, I want to go across and beyond all of those mediums to create something that's really unpredictable, synergistic, greater than the sum of those mediums. So I called it
And when
transmedium.
we're talking about the co-creation wheel here that was envisioned by Barbara
Mark Hubbard, yeah.
Hopkins?
Mark Hubbard. Yeah,
Mark Hubbard, I'm sorry, yeah,
we
Hubbard.
live with Barbara a little bit on and off, so we're sort of carrying a piece of her baton and her DNA. So our Together Life
Awesome.
system took the wheel of co-creation, just like you guys have done, and created really the wheel of co-creation. The way she envisioned it was awesome, but it was just flat, like just the
Mhm.
wheel with 12 sectors. But really, as she knew, it's more holographic and multidimensional than that.
Right.
So we've been looking at some pieces of extending that. So not only 12 sectors, but we have like 7 levels and 7 functions based on organisms and chakras and fractal kind of levels. So you're in the wheel of co-creation is more like a synergistic coordinate system, I would say, for self-organizing, co-creative, planetary scale co-creation, rather than just a wheel where you say, oh, well, Great Works Alliance is creating a platform for collaboration, so we'll put them in infrastructure. Like, that doesn't really do much or help
No,
synergies
and
get
it's
created.
not really, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
not
so
really
it's more about the
explaining like,
database, like you guys do. It's more about what is this database structure and ontology there that allows for the lightest amount of architecture with the least amount of prescription, but still not nothing, because we're not really into, oh, we can just self-organize with no structure or no intent. We've
Right.
tried that. That
Just
doesn't really
La La
work.
Land. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. So we work with Barbara. So our systems thinking and co-creative thinking comes a lot from her, really. I mean, a lot of like we're in the same fractal, I guess, as Barbara. Like we're basically, I would say, updating most of what she's done to the next whatever it's meant to be next, all of us, when it gets implemented more compared to the way it was implemented in the past. So yeah, so Togetherland's going
when you
cool.
bring up
Mhm. Go ahead.
the fractal mirroring in everything as far as like where we're all coming from and where we're going as far as our lens of expression, and that fractal continues to expand upon the light that has been shed so far, and then how we each are able to express it in our own light expression. So this is, I like that you're seeing that analogy there. It brings me back to a book that is called The Prism of Lyra, which is like one book I got when I was young because my name is Lyra. And so I start looking at things from the perspective of, we started with direct light and then we shot it through a prism, and here we are in that fractal expression of everything. And so yeah, if we can just get more of those fractal expressions lined up in a row in a circle, not so much um, a, a circle as a spiral, like you're saying, three-dimensional. We're talking here, bringing it from the center and out in the multi-layered universe, in the multiverse here. So if
Totally.
yeah, anything, yeah, anything we can do working together to get that done is just,
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
I like your metaphor. The way I see a similar metaphor, which is there's like infinite awareness that basically refracts through all of our localized minds, which creates the world that we each live in as an individual. But we're really not. That's not really who we are. It's kind of like that's the dream of infinite awareness, kind of so to say. But the the metaphor helps to have some kind of refraction that creates
Yeah.
the apparent, I would say, the appearance of multiplicity and diversity compared to whether it's really there or not, which is another question. I don't think it is myself. I think it's, but it's still real, right? So there's a difference. Illusion doesn't mean unreal. Illusion means misperception. So like when the Easterns say like the world is not an illusion, they don't mean it's not real. They mean it's not what we think it is.
Right.
But which is different than unreal, which is a confusion. People always think, oh, if it's unreal, why can't I step in front of a car? Because I'll get so
And still live, right?
it's like, yeah, I mean, another scientist uses the metaphor of literally and seriously. So I take the car seriously, but not literally. Like literally, the car's not there, but seriously, it is. You know. Anyway, I like your metaphor of the refraction. I think that's what creates, and that's what we're all getting. We're all trying to just reveal what nature or the mystery is doing in a way that makes it most effortless, really, for all of us to be able to co-create and together. And up until this point, I don't think we have the technology yet to mirror or to support the type of consciousness that we all have and want to live through. So we've often struggled using Slack or Trello or whatever. Like we're all using Google Docs to the best of our ability until we build like really a technology, a suite of technologies that are suitable for a quantum mind, for a creative, liberated creator. Like we need, you know, I need to have my little badge that puts out VR right, I mean AR right here where I can move things around and talk to it. Like, you know,
Right.
I was looking at some of and the immense amount of work you've done, like gratitude for all of the energy you've invested, clearly. I was on your website, you know, looking at how you're laying out
Awesome.
things and all of your different categories and the onboarding and everything you've done. So I can appreciate how much effort you've already put into what you're doing. And one little thing I liked about NewMap, if you had a chance to even look for a second, you can see on the comments and co-creation on the side, like Facebook, you can leave a comment, but you can kind of hyper tag it, for lack of a better word, with like as a skill or a passion or whatnot. And each comment is a piece of information in its own right. So that thread isn't just one solid thread. You can pull out any comment that someone left. So organically, because I've always believed, as you've probably found out trying to onboard people, like if you just ask someone like to name their skills and their passions and like sit in front of a sheet, like they start getting like, you know, writer's block and like, or right away they're like, oh, but I don't know. And it can be, I mean, it is what it is. We all do the same thing, by the way. So I'm not sticking you out. We all use Google Docs and stuff right now.
Right.
But like, practically speaking, I think we're going to need, as an ecosystem, you know, some evolution of that kind of thing so people can organically through their what we call lounging. I'm sure you have your own words, so to say, where everyone's first getting to know each other and sort of, you know, evolutionarily socially networking. And then through a natural process, you would say, oh, I know someone that can help you with that, or I'm really good at that. And then you would label your response as a skill or a resource or whatever your ontology is, you know, for your community. Um,
Mhm.
and then it's like you're organically building your profile. Like theoretically, all those comments would go into your, you know, through AI and automation. You wouldn't even say anything. It would just start building your profile. Um, and that was
And
always one
that's
thing
what we're looking for.
that's one thing I always loved about our prototype that I wished we could have had the experience of just building the first kind of social network version of it. Because it wasn't ever just a social network. You know, that was our sticking point, like you guys probably get into. We were sociologists, technologists, you know, creatives, like we were trying to create like a meta type thing, a database, an interface, and then applications all working in one, because nobody wants to go create new profiles everywhere, you know, in all these
Right.
different siloed databases, which is a big conversation I want to bring you guys into with some of us in Open World Alliance and Civil X, because we're trying to think, is there a way at minimal technologically to have one profile, like avatar profile, you know, using like maybe something like decentralized ID and some of our other, all of our little pieces. So no matter
Mhm.
which, for lack of a better word, system or community any of us create or go into, there's that one sort of, I would say, holonic fractal avatar. So it's just, I don't have to keep logging in and sharing my passions in every place I go. If they're all in my universal profile, then when I show up in the Great Works Alliance team for this mission, I can say, well, let them see all the relevant skills and passions according to what this quest needs, compared to seeing my whole profile all the time. Or me having to actually create a new profile. I hate it. Mighty Networks is the worst case fucking scenario. People keep inviting me there,
Yeah.
and it's like I have to recreate my bio and all this. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So forgive the rant there, but that's why
No,
my
it's
point was, that's why we're all here. Like, I really believe until we do our best, like you guys are doing, like we all do, to mimic and to prototype and iterate all of these things. And it's like really crucial at some point, as we're all moving towards, like, new maps, civil x, holochain, core network, all of these things, like what's the best pieces that we can create something that allows us all to flourish in that way. So that was long-winded, but nothing to do with Togetherland, but I guess a little bit of a update or perspective on some things.
And thank you for
No, it's
sharing
great.
that. That's like where we're coming from too. We're looking at it like, it doesn't matter where I am. I should be able to log in to my personal profile. Nobody else has access to my personal profile. But if I want to go to Discord, I can just click on my icon that takes me to my Discord account, and it already reads all of my information if I'm not already have a profile on Discord or on Facebook or on all these other platforms that are really ineffectual anyway. But I mean, it's a starting point. If people can have that in their digital wallet, just like they have their credit cards and their bank information and their Bitcoins, etc., so they could just pull out this one digital wallet card that is their profile and say, okay, read this. If I'm gonna interact in your playground, you just read this, take the data and put it on my profile. It's already done. I've already done it once.
Yeah.
That's all I should have to do, and that's it.
Like a living profile that's continually updated and iterated, and toggleable, selected by the user of what per type of account they want to expose. So if you go to Discord, say, I don't want to expose all this, okay, check it off, send it, done. And then you go over to Facebook. Well, I have a different selection I want to expose and not expose, and just build off of that, which is, to me, I think it's a lot like KeyPass or OAuth on the open source side for OAuth, where you basically have that central wallet, and I know that other people or organizations like Hyperledger and Holochain have been talking about that for a long time and been working towards it. And when people are working towards stuff, it doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel. It's just, let's get the dots connected, see what works and doesn't, and then connect and say, hey, what do you guys think about this idea? Have you thought about that? And new ideas can pop up.
Yeah, totally. I think, I mean, we've always taken that approach. We are, like everyone else, I guess, simultaneously in an urgent non-rush, which basically means move at the speed of novelty. Like, and we're not interested in a bunch of us producing 6 different platforms that are so similar, but maybe a little different. So we're interested in taking whatever time, really, in a relative sense, is necessary to work with, a core group, a core ecosystem, and it could be 5 or 10 projects, it could be 50. I don't know. I don't think it's 1,000. I think it's more like 100 or less. And really to come into communion together and have the trust built up, and then also bringing the resources in to take whatever next steps would be necessary. So that's, one of the pieces that Mark Keen from Open World Alliance might be playing. massive resources, and his heart's in the right place and his intentions are in the right place. So that's just a matter of when his software gets built up and running as anticipated. And I've kind of started enjoying the idea of designing
Mhm.
for the best case scenario. So instead of thinking like, oh, it won't come through or it won't work or it's too good to be true, I'm like, okay, that's normal thoughts that go through our minds sometimes. Like if everyone's honest, like we've all been trying really hard, and maybe like you guys, we always run into people that say they've got money or funding, and then it doesn't work. And then there's the Gold Dragon family in Asia, and then there's Nasara, and there's all this stuff, and like blah blah blah. Like that stuff has to show up in order to be proven true, I would say, or else it's just a waste of my time at this point. We've personally benefited from some beautiful I would say small scale support, but more than most of us in this space. Like we've been given like over 7 years, like 300,000 in cash and millions in resources. If you add up the actual resources, like we had somebody secure a
Right.
building in Rotterdam a few years ago for a year, and like 50 of us lived there. We didn't pay rent or electricity or Wi-Fi. Like the guy who started it managed to pull that off. So we've been quite fortunate and blessed, and a little bit probably more on the side of like it hasn't just been an idea. Like we've been out there like prototyping some of this stuff and like receiving philanthropic support in the gift paradigm, which is awesome. Like that we've had that experience to some degree. So it only makes sense to me that that will just increase and grow into what we all want, treat others the way you want to be treated, right? Like
Exactly.
I would give I would give us billions of dollars. So I must assume that that universe is happy to make that happen when the time is right. If and then we don't really care, we still go on anyway, like money or not. Um, but
Law
my
of
bigger,
attraction does
yeah,
work.
yeah. But like I said, the bigger point was I just like designing for the best case scenario. Like, and the best case scenario, and there's another opportunity potentially, means that these kind of conversations are the most important thing, and all of us getting to know each other and building the field and sharing some intelligence and like feeling each other out, so we're kind of progressing to a point where it's easier to come together, because that's not as easy as people, maybe a lot of people have thought in the past, like, oh, we have the same vision, we'll just co-create together. Like it gets a little bit more nuanced than that, and a little bit more sophisticated, I would say. And there's a lot of variables that we can tend to overlook that come back and bite you in the ass, as far as clarity and transparency and people having their needs met and understanding each other and all those kind of things. It takes time to do that.
And ensuring that everybody's spirit of intent is in alignment, because there will be scenarios that pop up where people say, oh, I got the answer here, this is how you do it. And then when somebody comes in and says, well, now wait a minute, there that's not the only way to do it. Let's expand and broaden the horizons so that we can have alternatives and options, and discuss an evolutionary path of understanding and comprehension of the material that we've been presented with,
I'll be right back.
and share. And so, it's difficult to contend with those individuals who are still stuck in this belief pattern that, oh, I have the answer and it's the only answer. And then, it's like when we're talking about co-creation, there is no concrete single answer. I mean, I can, as a Reiki master, I can say, well, Reiki is one of the oldest known forms of healing on the planet Earth, right? But I cannot say that it is the first, because we've had healing that was not labeled as healing, that was happening before Reiki, the practice and use of Reiki was implemented. So, I can say there is a serious lineage in history here about Reiki, just like there is for yoga and Buddhism and Hinduism and all of these religions and beliefs and faiths. But we have to be able to come to an agreement here that there are alternative ways to heal people. And whatever resonates with an individual is their path. And, you know, if you're not feeling that Reiki is your path, that's okay. And I'm not going to say, hey, Reiki will heal you, because it's not going to heal you if you don't want it to, or if you don't recognize that it does. So we have to be able to come to an agreement to disagree and be okay with that. And a lot of people aren't. They're still stuck in, well, if I disagree with you, then I'm going to make a big debate about it, and we're going to argue it until you believe what I say is right.
True.
Well, even, you know, the only way you can say that is if you have the empirical evidence to back it up. And that requires the research and dedication to knowing that subject. And even then, you're not 100% certain that that is accurate, because like we go back to that fractal representation of expression, and there are more than 3 ways to look at an elephant. More than 3 ways to look at an elephant to know that that's an elephant. So it's got to be, you know, got to be a little bit flexible here in this community environment so that we can all work together in an autonomous and yet federated position. So it's like that duality will always exist, and we know that it will always exist, but it should be hovering like the yin yang, going around, and we're making things happen that are going to be positive and influential and peace, creating peace and clarity and harmony. And I'm getting hot.
Where are you guys at?
California.
California.
Yeah.
We're actually just a couple miles away from the Tesla factory.
Oh yeah, so that's north up by Silicon Valley or something? Is that where that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Over in Fremont.
Fremont, Milpitas area
Right.
near San Jose.
Oakland's just a couple miles north of us, and we noticed someone put I can't remember what it was called. It was something over in Telegram for this company that actually is over in Oakland, and I wanted to pay attention to it, just follow it a little bit, see where that went, and if it was appropriate, like if they were ready, if they had any contacts, maybe they could set up a meeting and we could just drive down in person if that's something that they were down for, to go ahead and facilitate
which company was that? Do you remember?
co-working collaboration. It's in Telegram somewhere, I believe. I'll forward it to you, like in a DM.
Yeah, see if I know anybody. I know the Impact Hub is in Oakland, but that's different. So.
That might be it. I don't know.
We did look at trying to get into a collab environment with technical communities in this area. The current requests have been for us to have our federal licensing in order to be qualifying for collab
Really?
working environments. Yeah.
Did you guys grow up?
State, federal.
We're state, but
Did you grow up in California?
She did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no?
I grew up in Washington State, and then I lived in New York for a bit, and then I lived in Hawaii for a bit, and then Vermont, and then we're in California. I when I was a kid, I was in California on and off too, but I'm not from this planet.
Yeah. I was curious as well, just about, you know, like in 2014, we had a company sponsor us to go out to Oakland to potentially co-create with Hilo at the time, which is based out of the Impact Hub in Oakland. because we had the
Really?
fancy, yeah, because we had the fancy prototype, everyone perceived us to be like a typical, Silicon Valley unicorn type, whatever. So everyone's first inclination was always go to Silicon Valley. You have to be in Silicon Valley to be in that space. And we didn't like it. Like it wasn't our vibe, like the whole Silicon Valley social entrepreneurs. I mean, we can thrive in any conditions, but by preference, I would say it wasn't our kind of space. And we have a little bit of a thing with California in general. I'm from the US, by the way, New Jersey. So it's like, um, and for us, California is very paradoxical. Like a lot of people in the tech and money space talk about
Yes,
spirituality, but they really, when you get to the table, they basically say, okay, throw the spirituality aside. Now it's business. And like we have to own percentage of
yep.
your company and all this other stuff. So I wonder how you guys feel out of place there, like as far as socio tech, or do you chameleon, like you don't really mind, like those, I find those to be all ridiculous, like the way they live out there and the way they think, I find it to be, exciting on some level of like the California, you know, DNA of the West and exploration and consciousness. Like I want to love California for that very reason. But then I hang out with all those tech and transhumanists and Facebook types, and I'm like, oh, Silicon Valley is just like the den of like everything that's like opposite of really what I kind of would want to be around. So I'm not talking about you guys personally. Like I'm just saying, how do you find it there? Like, do you find it like enjoyable or not? Or
Well, so the thing is that we're on the street right now. We're in our RV on the street because there is no place for us to put our RV that is portable in California. And the reason that we came to California is we were having plans on collaborating with individual who has a big database center that is connected to Google, or what was it?
He's hooked up with that.
So that was our plan. We ended up getting stuck. So we're kind of in this situation where we're at, not really able to connect with people in this area at the moment because of COVID and restrictions that have been placed on everyone because of that, and that we're looking for our own creation machine. We're not relying on anyone in the community to be part of this. We've talked to some people, they've shown interest, but they're kind of on the fringe themselves, and so they kind of disappeared off the map pretty quickly. And yeah, it does come down to money around here because it is so expensive to live here in California. But we are looking at places all across the country as far as being able to have the ability to move around and connect with all of these different organizations that are having similar intent, similar desire, and that we can connect, and we'll spend whatever time we need to in a location in order to assist, with reciprocity as the baseline for our interactions and collaboration.
right, I just turned my camera off because it was breaking up a little bit.
Well, that's fine.
See if it works again.
Yeah, our signal gets a little sketchy every now and then.
Yeah. Right now we're on a mobile hotspot that we have on the phone, and it's usually better than what we have found with being near Starbucks using their hotspot. So.
Once you're inside, most of them around here are still locked up, where it's contactless delivery, curbside. You can't go inside and hang out like they were all originally designed for.
Right. So what is the
It's a whole new scenario.
what's the next most exciting thing for you guys to sort of set your intentions and set your sights on as far as your platform? Is it to get more partners or more users, or to just work on the design of it? Like, what's the kind of in the now? Where are you at?
People like you and Mark, actual infrastructure designers and coders.
We want to build these alliances to work on this in the global infrastructure project that's happening, and we are participating in the Weekend Dreams Energy Project a bit, and several other projects that are out there, just offering a certain level of structure that seems to be missing in a lot of these projects. Has to do with ethics. It has to do with like a code of conduct. Everybody talks about how we should have a code of conduct, and even yesterday they were talking about it, but they hadn't developed it yet. And I did go to college and studied human resource management. I've owned a few businesses, and been involved in several projects, been involved in protests and other adventures and rallies and so forth. And so I bring that along. I say, hey, there is actual structure that has been created to help fill that void that you're expressing here, and we're happy to discuss that further with the pillars of ethics and the ethical standards that are on the site and the link through that site. So
how far deep into the manual have you gotten yet that we've shared?
The manual, I haven't gotten too far down. I stuck with the website first.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been trying to make that simple, like not too complicated on this site. What do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, partially. In our projects, I've often been the social one, like the extroverted person. So I like cultivating relationships in general. I like having friends. I like having friends everywhere. I like helping people. I like making connections for people. So I have a natural inclination to look outward and to also be interested in what's kind of in the field, in order to kind of bring that intelligence back to our space and say, hey, I thought of this, like these people are doing it this way. I just have this natural inclination. So in our project at the moment, I'm kind of playing that role to, I call it resonance recruiting. Like, it's like helping our group like find other people, compared to going super deep into like the social architecture and the software design. Like, I did that for many years. The idea of Togetherland basically was, I got tired of being a social architect and a systems designer and a software designer, because that's not what I really came on the planet to do. So I like to tell stories, I like to be expressive. I like to think of myself as a gonzo journalist, and I want to create experiences. So Togetherland's my way of starting to shift into my deepest heart's desire. Although I still love all of the architecture and everything, something I'm kind of want to move a little bit away from. So one of the reasons I wanted to get to know you guys and have my first experiences to see if I can help facilitate, wherever I think, knowing the different ecosystems, if there's a way to help you, help us, help us, help everyone, blah, blah, blah. And because I
That's
believe
that
in
reciprocity there.
yeah, and I believe in the human connection. Like
Yeah.
I like to meet people, even if it's only for an hour the first time. I still help. I'm pretty intuitive. I'm not psychic like if I never met people, but once I talk to people, I know how I feel like about their genuine disposition. Like everyone has got their own shit to deal with, but I guess there's just a minimum viable level of decency, right? Like that I like to be around, like you're
Yeah.
saying, core values kind of thing.
Well, we've been paying attention. It's been mostly myself on Telegram that for any of our interactions and stuff. I know you guys have a big concern about authenticity and contracts and stuff like that. So that's one area we'd be very interested in you looking over and getting any of your feedback on, because we do have a strong interest in working with you in whatever niche zone you want to be. It doesn't matter to us. But like when we're talking about holochain or ledgers or anything like that, crypto, merits, badging, projects, quests, anything like that, we want to focus on those fundamental basics, because like the ledger system is a no trust system, right?
Right.
You start at none because you want to protect yourself and have a level of security, and then you open it up basically in different realms or levels of permeability according to certain facets with your relationship that you have mutual consent on. And you don't want to go into this, have the same issue that you had before with a co-founder or another partner or anybody in a project, because it's unproductive. You want to try to be able to head off any of the obstacles as early as possible. So that's an area we'd really like to get your feedback on and make sure that you and your wife are comfortable with. If there's something that you do find questionable or that you have a question on, or you think that there might be a way to improve upon it, we want to know so we can get that implemented.
Right on, man. So I'll start taking a look at the manual.
Okay.
As soon as I can.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, we've been focusing and falling short due to availability of tools for the relational mapping between these different things. I think that once we have something that's actually usable and we won't have to be concerned about security, where the data goes is getting mined by the larger corporation, I think we're going to be able to get further along in all these different aspects. And we just want to know how we can help everybody. And part of the problem that we've run into so far is they get that writer's block, per se, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And lots of positive feedback, but very little constructive criticism to actually improve it
or act upon. I mean, it's
or
great.
Action.
It's great to be given props for what you've done, but like one of the big things we keep on coming back with is this is not about what we've done. This is about what you can do. But it's like, here's these missions. And I did a presentation last month and got banned from Facebook for it. But the presentation last month was one of our players had done what mission. She had accepted a mission The mission was to investigate the legislative proposals for the election
Here in California.
here in California. And so she did that, and she got information and figured out, what the pros and cons were. And we did a presentation. We did not tell people how to vote. We did not. We just gave them information. But that was enough for Facebook to block me for 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's opportunity out there to be able to have missions, and then recognition of accomplishment of missions. That's a big thing we're really into, because there are people out there who take on missions and then they're given bad flack for it. And it's like, well, I just wanted to learn more about this. And I'm not asking for you to criticize me. I'm asking for your support in helping to figure this out, and helping to fill out an audit against a judge, or something like that. And if we can get more positive feedback for the people who are accomplishing these missions and getting out there and getting involved in their community despite all this COVID lockdown stuff, that's going to show that people can still get things accomplished. We can still be active in our society. We can still be a part of our community. And if there are things that you can't do, like going to a city council meeting because they're locking down the public entrance to city council meetings, which is nationwide right now, we got to do something else that's going to help inform people, because a lot of people get discouraged when they're not able to do what they were able to do before. They're not able to go where they were able to go before. So these alternatives and providing a platform and a networking scenario is one of the big ways we think that this can really help. Instead of creating and building cooperatives, I mean, that's another piece, and it's very important. So I shouldn't say instead. Along with, let me rephrase that. Along with that, there's still all these cities that are full of people who are stuck. They don't know where to go. They don't know what an intentional community even is. They think it's a sex commune or something like that. It's like, no, that's not at all what it's about. I don't know what movie you last saw about that one, but so we're just looking at ways in which we can get the current communities and cities to interact and become involved in projects that will improve their community and improve the quality of life within that community. Any missions you can think of, we want to publish them. We're going to be publishing more and more missions on the site, more open missions.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest question is what you talked about, which is really engagement.
Yeah.
And I guess ironically, a lot of us are going to have to come together to have the capacity to do something that usually costs hundreds of millions and is done in a fashion way. But the fact is, we need that kind of global kind of team to create something that will actually get people's attention and get the engagement. Otherwise, we're looking at the same thing we're all looking at, which is all of our stuff doesn't, it just has stragglers around because people's attention is so short. And if you don't actually build the next big thing on some level, it may not work.
Yeah.
So we almost have to build something. with the quality
Go
of,
ahead.
and like if we were Apple computers, like that kind of product with marketing as well as technology, as well as with engagement, as well as with facilitators, as well as having physical hubs where people come to learn. It's a massive undertaking, really, what we're all ultimately after,
Yes,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
that's why we've been focusing on various lenses through like different cultures and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And the hero ship lens, and hey, we're not opposed to anything outside the hero ship lens, like through eco, because we look at it kind of like the backbone that is just kind of put out of sight, and the focal point, the high optic center, is the hero ship lens, because it goes so broad, but it's not exclusive. So that's one of the reasons why we brought that up to you too, is because we saw a lot of similarities, like with David Elam's. He wants to work together with us on the Hero Academy,
The Titan Academy,
and the karma system. And I noticed that you look pretty positive and encouraging on that for David, and that there's a lot of alignments. So what do you think about maybe possibly co-working in that space together?
I think you see, we have this little group that came out of the various telegrams that were in with David, Mark from Open World Alliance, Jordan and Atlas from Civil X, our friend
Yep.
Nico, who used to be a lead dev at Holochain, who's now working on his own piece based on his Holochain experience.
Awesome.
So it's a small group, and I would be more than happy to recommend we invite you in there to come to the next whenever. We haven't met a lot physically, but it's the best first step to have a small group of people on the same page, building the resonance. And that's my best offer, really, because it takes time. And we're talking to
Well,
David.
so
but it's important that everyone talks. as we keep going.
and we've been in collaboration and communication with Jordan and Atlas as well. So that's great that we have this group formulating from all these different areas, and the more that we can all come together from our different perspectives, that's like creating a new star.
Yeah.
It's like we each have our different fractal expressions, and here we are converging to create this new star and solar system, basically, that resonates to a frequency that hopefully will be a beacon for everyone.
I like
Would
bacon.
you happen to have Reiki? Would you happen to have Reiki in that chat too,
Reiki.
from Seeds?
I don't think he's in that one.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're doing some really awesome stuff that
Yeah.
aligns and correlates very well. And then there's also Seed. They're doing an MMO. I'm not sure if it's part of the same Seeds group or the parallel. I know Reiki was asked about it in one of the Discord chats, and he's like, "Yeah, we're not in opposition. Just there's another one with using a different icon, and we'd love to work with them."
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that one.
Okay.
I
I'll
think,
I'll make sure to forward you some links.
yeah, I think everyone in our group knows about Seeds. Like David was talking to them, doing some interoperability. And Mark is familiar with them. I just don't think we have a developer in there yet, because they're like Seeds kind of is at a different point, and they know what they're creating in a big way right now. Like what the platform is for and how it's going to work, and Haifa and all that. So
Yeah, that's what they seem to be pushing really hard right now, is Haifa.
and I think we'll definitely intersect with them more when some of us are more ready to build our first kind of, whatever MVP of something together. Um, Compared to bringing them in now, because I think they would be bored and like it wouldn't be, they're in a different place in their development.
So let's get on that.
We're actually, looking right now. If you look at the page Soul Spark, there's 8 categories for the badging system that have been listed out at the moment. I'm may be adding another one to that list. Would love your input on that. The idea here is, now that we have these badge categories set up, we now have to make a
Pairing.
value for these badges, and then pairing with missions.
And pairing with other lenses, categories, and sectors, like Barbara's work that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You are much more well versed in that information than we are. So anything you could do to fill in some of the gaps would be amazing.
And I can share with you the current spreadsheet, which is the player metrics, chakra correlation, and merit badging book. It's a book that we've been working on for 6 months now, looking at the different factors and how the correlation can be mapped out. That's why the badges for the course virtues and strengths are colored the way they are, because they are based upon the chakra alignment with each of those virtues and character strengths. And so that's one category. And then the other category is right now for the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the regenerative development goals that we've been working on. But there's still a lot of work to be done on that, and we are always looking for input, additions, and it's all about collaboration. That's what this is all about. Let's collaborate together. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see what we can list out for the different missions, for courage, for love, for compassion, for let's see what different missions can be put under the different regenerative goals, like how if you are in a community that it needs to go solar, clean power, clean energy, like how are you going to help that happen? Where are the tools? This is what we're working on right now.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, my goal is to help this ecosystem find its deeper and deeper, solution to co-creating itself. So, and helping us naturally find some sort of like formation that helps us all optimize are doing what we're doing, rather than like at some point we don't want, like, we're all trying to find a solution to the idea of like, Mark talks to you guys, then you talk to us, and then we talk to David, and then you talk to David, and that takes months in a sense. And like it's just it is what it is, and it needs to happen until it doesn't need to happen. So it's nothing wrong with it, but it's highly like inefficient. So
Indeed.
and I don't want to go through all of your materials, just like you don't want to go through all of our materials. And like, I'm not the best person actually in our ecosystem here to look at your table and then help integrate that with ours and vice versa. That's why as soon as possible, us all working really as one ecosystem is more important than anything, right? Because I want that. I want the people with the specialized passions and skills to easily find each other and have a container they're working within together, So,
yeah.
but that's coming. I mean, that's what we're all kind of in the process of.
Yeah.
No pressure here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now we've got it set up for we've got the multiple Phoenix, Fusion, and Forge teams, right? And we've got a lounge where you and I elaborated and discussed it a little bit in the chat.
Yeah.
Like a transition point, yet it's more on the lounge side and separate from the actual workspaces. We see the value and appreciate the value in the lounge aspects, but we don't put as much emphasis on it as we've seen like the Synergy team, where they're spending a lot of time just talking and getting to know people and exploring ideas to a very limited degree.
Yeah.
And we're very excited to get onto the later stage of the co-working spaces, and maybe like, because we're so diverse in the areas that we're wanting to be connected and operate in, is okay, let's do around the world type thing and just rotate between different focus groups or working groups in these different areas. And just the big deal is coordination and showing up and doing the work.
And making sure we all have the same workspace to engage in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's where hopefully that's where it's heading. Awaken Dream Synth,
We're
like
ready.
you said, has a very specific function.
I'm sure they're working on it. What is it? Mark from Synergy brought up core.net. We checked it out again, and it looks like they've done some updates. It looks really amazing and incorporating most everything that we've all been talking about, especially that's been needed. At the same time, I'm not sure when any of the tools are going to be available to try to beta test.
Core Network, there's no way they have anything done
Oh,
because
really?
all of their stuff's mock-up. Like they have the ability to build. Like they've got a lead core developer that's very experienced, but all of that stuff on their website. Obviously, I could be wrong. I say I'm 90% sure. Like none of that is literally built with any code.
Oh, wow.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Well,
We
most
actually
of us,
have something that's built out.
yeah, I mean, I happen to generally resonate with the idea of the famous saying, like, if you're going to chop down a cherry tree, spend 55 minutes sharpening your axe and 5 minutes actually axing.
Yes,
most definitely.
Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah, so there's a lot of blueprints in this space and architectures trying to like make it sure when we build something, at least it has the best chance of representing what we have in mind and having fewer bugs that show up and trying to be expressed through technology. So I have confidence in Core Network, but as far as like you're saying, like I'm pretty sure they've got, like, if someone showed that to you saying, why don't we use this? I think they were misinformed. Like, but again, I could be
No, it was just brought up.
Yeah.
They weren't saying it was ready yet. He was talking about how one of the guys was being scheduled for a presentation, and there was a hang up, not quite ready to do that yet.
Yeah.
Well, and we have been connecting with people across the country, looking at helping to develop and build out. One of the areas we're currently exploring is where to go for our crowdfunding platform.
At least initially.
Yeah, because we've looked at a few different ones. I mean, we have our own idea as far as how to set up a crowdfunding platform, but for the moment we can't do that because we don't have the tools we need to do.
We're not coders.
So right now we're in the space of, well, we need to use what's available, and GoFundMe has been kind of knocked off the board because of their fees. and the way that you can receive the money. You have to make sure that the whole fundraising amount is met, and then they'll give you the money.
Not for GoFundMe.
Not for GoFundMe.
Not for GoFundMe. I thought it was for GoFundMe. Was
No,
it the other
GoFundMe.
way?
I've used that
No,
before. You
GoFundMe. I've
actually
used
can
that
get
before.
sent
You actually can get sent
money every day or every
money
week,
every
no
day
matter
or
what,
every week, no
how
matter
much
what,
has come in so far.
how much has come in so far.
There's a few different things. We'll have to go through it, and
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
we'll
found
send
a,
you the
I
links
haven't
that we've got
found a
narrowed down
crowdfunding
to.
platform that jumps out me so much that I'm like, oh,
Jumps at
that's
me so much that
better
I'm
than
like, oh,
everything.
that's
Otherwise,
better
they're
than
all the same to me.
otherwise they're all the same to me.
Yeah, we'd like to do something like at the root level that reaches out to the other platforms as portals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like an API, you know, but a primary API that's more like a wallet that'll do the push and receive bidirectionally. I forget the name of it now. There was one, I was asking some people what their thoughts were on it.
Kickstarter?
No.
Not Kickstarter. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, our MVP that we've been looking at it has been, you know, on the meritocracy, the badging, the core stuff that goes into what would make a constitution or a bill of rights, basic operating systems for personal operations extended out into business, and larger governance models like co-ops,
federations, NGOs,
county, state, federal, all that good stuff.
Right.
And that would be able to specifically target specific forms of outreach that tie in very well with what David has put together for or aiming for with his karma system, and just overlay these different layers that we've all come up with and get them connected and visually map it out would be great. I think we want to hear your feedback, and then that could be multiple portals for like donation and goods that could also turn into not just donations like pulling in, but putting out into actions of like productivity,
verifiable, peer reviewed,
which goes into what Seeds is doing with their system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
I'd have to just go over it again with you another time.
Okay.
That's all right. Well, it's been great talking with you, Bret, and I'm glad that we were able to connect here, and let's see how we can make this dream grow. I talk about dream catchers and catching dreams, and there was a presentation on Awaken Dream Synergy last week. It was last week, that's right. And how some Native Americans in both North America and South America have been creating huge dream catchers on different properties around the world. And it's kind of funny because I was making these dream catchers and saying, hey, I'm catching dreams to help them go viral, not to get rid of them. These aren't the scary dreams we're here to catch. We're here to catch the vision dreams, the beautiful dreams, and help expand and make them possible, make them more than possible, make them viral, going all over the place. And the more people we can get involved in that process, having a virtual playground that everybody can play in, whether they're on a phone or a PC or a laptop, it does have to have that diversity and ability to work from cross platforms, so that we can have that actually really explode. We want it to explode.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, right on.
Are you into playlists?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, you mentioned Atlas earlier, and Atlas is big into archetypes and character archetypes and how to play that out and everything, right? So we're thinking that once we can get some of this correlation mapped out between our lens, your lens, David's lens, Jordan and his team's lens,
Mark and
it will,
season.
just as a short example, short list, we'll have a little bit of clarity in how we could do something like further elaboration of archetypes. Say you're a journeyman or a seeker or a master, and color that through different lenses. So what about like an urban warrior? How does that
Cultural
look?
lenses, yeah.
What does it look like from someone that's a bit more of a roughneck? You know, try to grab from all different areas of the world in how they actually coordinate and correlate, and then put that together as a stack. So however you're coming in through, you got the keyword, say through new map, right? Type in a keyword for warrior, and you get this list that shows different types of warriors according to the geography and their history and their whole background and everything and how they look at it. And then people can further zoom in into that zone that they really resonate with, which goes back to what you were saying earlier towards the beginning of the call. Like, hey, I want to help facilitate people going in a beeline straight to what's closest for them just kick off with brainstorms and just be a badass in their own right, how they want to do it. And that's our goal for what we put together with the skills and merit evaluation, is to try to aim towards that. It's not complete. It needs a lot more input from everybody. And we don't look at the master list as being something, or master questionnaire, or something that has to be done right off the bat. That's a bit old school. That doesn't work these days. It kind of has to be done progressively. Like, you got this AI or chatbot that pops up every now and then, cued based off of your actions. You go, okay, it hits this trigger because they're in this zone relating to this field. And then they open up and say, hey, we noticed you're over here. Would you be interested in this? Or how does this make you feel? And that can go into their health checks too, to help keep them in their own zone and mindset that's optimal for them.
There's a whole bunch of different layers here. You know, we could say QWERTY or whatever that paperclip thing is that pops up in your Google window or whatever.
That's Windows.
Oh, it's Windows. Okay. But, you know, but even more intuitive and more far more useful. But yeah, there's a lot to go over, a lot to brainstorm, and you know, we're looking to work with everybody. We are, and it's really all about, let's coordinate and be prepared to do work meetings, because I think that for those of us who are at this level right now, we need to be doing more than just talking and familiarizing ourselves with each other. We have this collective vision that we all are resonating with, recognizing, and want to see happen. Let's see how we can actually put it out there instead of just the concept, but in real terms that somebody
Mike,
with very little experience could just glom on to.
you have to drop your mic now.
You have to drop your mic now.
Mic drop.
So remember, after the call, whether it be today or later, please let us know anything that you need. We'll do whatever we can to try to help you guys out on what you need, so you can be at your peak
Right on.
peak operating performance. You know, the whole goal that we're all basically saying and moving towards is, what can we do to help facilitate whoever to be in a sweet spot, to be able to operate in their sweet spot and just be their best self. What do they need
You're breaking up now.
Huh?
It was breaking up, so I'll have to catch that next time.
Yeah. But so yeah, let's connect again. Let's know when is a good time for you, and we'll make ourselves available. Okay.
Yeah, right on. Let's keep the conversation,
Yeah, right on. Let's
everything
keep
flowing.
just
We'll see
keep
what's
the
next.
Conversation, everything flowing. We'll see what's next.
All right. Great
Is it,
talking with you.
is it okay with you if we go ahead and add you to our Telegram chat?
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
All right.
Okay. Don't want to overwhelm you. Just give you a little bit of a feel out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Say, let the wife know that we said hello.
I will, man. Thank you.
You guys enjoy your day.
I will, man. Thank you.
Have an awesome
Good
day.
talking with you.
Have an awesome day.
And mail us the recording if you would, please, and I'll be able to put it up on the channel.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.